I think that it's very interesting that we are so quick to believe all of the negative things that people say about us and to us, and the negative things that we say about ourselves, but so slow to believe the good parts. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my channel. It is your girl, Simone Nicole here. Back at it again with yet another video, and today's video is gonna be one that I'm so passionate about. Why are you in such a deeply committed relationship with the worst version of yourself? We're gonna explore that today, and I'm so excited to do so. And what I also hope is that if you made it to this video, if you clicked on this video, if you're hearing the words that I say right now, that this was meant for you and that I can be a part of the start of your journey of change and healing. By the end of this video, you will have the tools necessary to take the steps to break up with this version of yourself that you cannot seem to let go of. If you would like to hear my thoughts or those tools or tips and tricks, then please keep watching. So what brought me here today? What inspired me to talk about this subject? One thing about me, I'm a whyer. I'm gonna ask why for every single situation, because once you get to the root of a problem, you can then begin to fix everything that has been caused by that faulty root. So let's take a second and rewind all the way back to the beginning. It's no wonder to me why so many of us are in such unhealthy relationships with ourselves. And one of the first things that I think about is how cool it is to hate yourself, and how glorified things like self-deprecating humor, being so real, and being someone that just says it like it is. And the fact that we place so much value on people that are, quote, so real and don't sugarcoat anything is very indicative and telling about the way that a lot of us grew up and how society has been up until this point. We learn to be the people that we are because of the environments that we grew up in. For a lot of us, I'm speaking for myself as a young Black woman raised by a single Black mother, and my mother was and is an older mother. So her generation has a very specific understanding of what it means to be a parent. That generation, my mom's generation, even like, what is that generation? Gen X? They didn't have time for a lot. And I think that when we talk about privilege and about luxuries, a lot of people discount and forget about the fact that time is a luxury. And especially when I look at when my mom was growing up, that was civil rights. That was during the time of unrest. It was just different. There's just certain things that you don't have time for. I have time to put clothes on your back, food in your mouth, have a conversation with you here and there, parent you, and hope that you can grow up to be the best person possible. Like, a lot of these generations up until now were in survival mode. And again, that is just a fact of the circumstances that they were in, right? Because of that, we lacked examples for a lot of things, right? Like, humans have basic needs, and generally, in order to survive and thrive, we have to fulfill those basic needs. Of course, there's eating, there's shelter, there's things like that. But then there's also relationship. Don't hate me here, but I feel as though a lot of relationships that are modeled to us are relationships that were developed out of necessity. These relationships lack very imperative things. If you didn't have a nuanced or well-rounded version of a romantic relationship, how in the world were you supposed to even start to think about having a positive relationship with yourself? In addition to the fact that society places an emphasis on romantic relationships and not relationships with yourself. So it's no wonder, like I said, how so many people are in the position that we are talking about today. Hell, including myself. Society does a really good job at emphasizing the fact that you should be in relationship. You should be in a romantic relationship, but it doesn't do a good job of explaining how to do that in a healthy way. And it doesn't clarify that a healthy relationship comes from two whole and healthy people coming together to become one. Generally, it's when we get in relationship with others that we realize that there are gaps inside of our personalities, inside of our temperaments that we may or may not like, or that just may not be productive. Contrary to most people's belief, most people are pretty aware of their pluses and minuses inside of their personality. Like, it's actually pretty rare to find someone that is completely not self-aware. What I generally find is that people don't have someone that they can be vulnerable with, that they can share the negative parts of themselves with, because a lot of people think that the more vulnerable they are, the more that those vulnerabilities are later going to be used against them and turned into like a gotcha moment for them, which makes me really sad. But I mean, I've seen it happen, and I've been fortunate enough to build intimacy with the people around me and have the ability to hear from people and hear the things that they struggle with and things that they know that are wrong, but you would never know that they're aware of the things according to their actions. We cannot neglect the fact that you exist in a community, and people are not good with change. We're going to get to change in a minute, but people are not good with change, especially others that they know changing. And people are very afraid often of their community around them feeling like if they change, then others are going to feel like I'm too good, or that I'm bossing up on them, or that I think I'm better than them. When you put this person in a position, this could be yourself, this could be someone that you know, when you put this person in a position of not having this person that they want to be or that they want to grow into modeled for them ever, they don't have the tools to change into this person, and they don't feel like they have the vulnerability to be honest about the things that they lack. All of this culminating together makes a person just want to give up, period. And it's very understandable why. It is such a problem to me that the world is so black and white. We exist in such binaries as a society that we have to choose which way we're going to go on a spectrum. It's either that I'm a good person, I'm a bad person, I'm a hothead, I'm a pushover, I'm a leader, or I'm a follower. We don't have a lot of nuance and a lot of rhetoric around sliding in between those binaries. When you make people's personalities and character traits so binary, it makes people feel frozen because they might not identify with one or the other, or they might feel pressured to pick one or the other. Not only do we think of people and things on binaries, we also think about change very binarily too. I hope that that's a word. But we also think about change in that way too. It's like, well, if you don't change every single thing about yourself and wake up one day and stop the drinking and stop the cursing and stop being so mad, then just don't bother changing at all. Who packaged, sold, and bought, sealed, signed, delivered that lie to us? Now we are just believing it and operating on this assumption that if I cannot change every single solitary thing about myself, I might as well not change at all. That sounds like some rhetoric that is made and told by people that want to keep you stagnant. You have to start somewhere. When you build a house, you start with the foundation and then you work your way up. You don't just poof, pop out a house. So why are we as humans expected to do the same thing? Especially when we just talked about a few minutes ago how we have been socialized and brought up in a very particular environment and learned to be a certain way over so many years. I cannot undo and unlearn and unthink the ways that I have been taught to be for 25 years. I can't do that. Not all in one go. I can eventually, just not all in one go. There is such a lack of grace in our society, and it like baffles me when I look around. It is fascinating to me how we are so quick to believe that someone is a horrible person and that the world is so horrible and that everybody is out for you and wants the absolute worst for you. The fact that I have so much grace with others happened because I have so much grace with myself. Everything, for better or for worse, that you do to yourself, that you say to yourself, that you believe about yourself, will then start to pour into others. If you are hypercritical of yourself, you will likely start to be hypercritical to others. If you have no grace for yourself, you will likely have no grace for anybody else as well. I believe in others' ability to change and to change their mind. And that's also a radical concept that I didn't realize. There is a YouTuber that I love. Shout out to Khadijah Bow. Love them and love their channel. Shout out to them. At the end of their videos, they always say, it's okay to change your mind because you want to. And when I would hear them say that, I'm like, well, of course it's okay to change your mind. But the more and more I'm in community with others, I realize that people have really decided that it is not okay for me to change my mind. Once I decide on something, that's it. Once I decide I don't like pizza, I don't like pizza forever. And I'm like, well, girl, like maybe you had like a bad piece of pizza once. And like, pizza doesn't have to be off limits for forever just because like you decided once that it has to be, right? And that same rhetoric carries over to how you think about yourself. It's like, well, I am a pushover, so that's just how I am. I'm gonna be a pushover forever. Who decided that? Who taught that to you? I think that it's very interesting that we are so quick to believe all of the negative things that people say about us and to us, and the negative things that we say about ourselves, but so slow to believe the good parts and the good things that people tell us about ourselves. And it's not a mystery why. I've talked about multiple times on my channel about how the brain is hardwired toward negativity, and all it takes is practice to undo that hardwiredness toward negativity. So it's not surprising as to why. I just want to point out the fact that just because someone has told you your entire life that you were a pushover and you've believed it, you can change your mind. You can decide that that is who I was, and that's okay. Now I'm choosing to be someone else. I'm choosing to be a person that stands up for themselves, and I am going to stand in that choice. We have got to step out of this mindset that whoever I chose to be yesterday, the day before that, the year before that, is the person that I have to continue to be for the rest of my life. How you undo all of these quote negative habits all starts with how you talk about yourself. There is so much power in your words. There is so much power in the things that you continue to tell yourself. You have to start flat out lying to yourself and watch yourself when you start to get into those negative loops, when you start to do something that's quote backpedaling into the person that you decided that you're not anymore, or from the habits that you decided you don't want to have anymore. Here come all of those, see, I knew that you couldn't do it. See, I knew that you weren't this. See, I knew that you couldn't keep it up. Okay, well, we're going to say to those thoughts, no, that's not true. I don't want to be that person anymore. So I'm deciding to be this person, period. That's it. And do you hear how I left out demonizing those traits? We have got to stop demonizing the person that we have always known ourselves to be. There's nothing inherently wrong with you as you are now. It is about how you are now negatively impacting yourself and negatively impacting the people that you are in community with, right? If you're a hothead, okay, I didn't learn good coping skills and good communication skills as a child because I didn't have the resources. My parents didn't have the resources, and that's okay. Now I'm choosing to change, and now I'm choosing to be different. Period, point blank. I don't want to hear nothing about how, oh, I'm such a horrible person. Oh, I'm such a hothead, and I'm just so mean to everyone around me. We don't have time for the self-pity, baby. It is not productive. And it also isn't very kind to yourself. And what have I said? If I'm going to say it once, I'm going to say it twice, I'm going to say it again. Kindness changes everything, and it has so much power to change you and the people around you. And I'm going to be corny and take it a step further and say even the world. Stop saying I can't. Stop saying that I don't have the tools or that I'm not good enough, because that is what you will become. That type of stuff stays inside of your subconscious, and you cannot run from your subconscious. I'm going to say this again. I'm going to say this again. And I'm going to say this again. Stop being so mean to yourself. I hate it. I hate when I hear people talk so cruelly to themselves. And please know that I am not sitting here on a high horse and acting like I am perfect. But what I for damn sure am good at is showing up over and over as the woman that I want to be. And the woman that I want to be is kind to herself. She is kind to others. She is gracious. She doesn't assume the worst of people, and she gives space and grace to herself. So that is the woman that I choose to show up as every single day, because that is the woman that I know that I am going to become. It is a practice. It is a marathon. It is not a sprint. I say unkind things to myself all the time, but just because I had a slip and said something unkind to myself doesn't mean that I've undone the work that I have worked to do. Think about every change that has happened. It always happens little by little. And the fact is that once you start a journey, you will likely take steps back in that journey, but then you will take steps forward again. Please do not feel as though just because you didn't do it perfectly the first time that it means that your journey is now invalid. You will start, you will stop, you will pause, you will move backwards, you will move forwards, and then you will make leaps. then you will make bounds, and then you will stumble, and then you'll do it all over again. And that's okay. Such is life. Allow yourself to make mistakes. Allow yourself to change your mind. Allow yourself to show up as a different person, damn, day to day if you have to. And please, let's commit to breaking up with this version of yourself that isn't productive or healthy for you. I feel like we have such a negative connotation around breaking up. Breakups are so hard. I don't want to break up with my partner because I've already put so much time in, and it would have been a waste of time if I have been with this person for 5 years and now what do I have to show for it? You hear the way that we talk about breakups in relationships. Now apply it to yourself. I don't want to break up with who I've been for 25 years because that means the last 25 years is a waste of time. Girl, how does that sound? Doesn't sound logical to me. This version of yourself isn't serving you anymore. Let it go. But what we're going to do is that we're going to say thank you, and we are going to step into this new journey. Do not demonize the person that you were, because without her, you would not be the woman that you are today. I get so passionate about this. I literally, if I let myself, I could literally cry in so many of my videos. It makes me feel so good to talk to people about speaking life into themselves and being kind to themselves, because all of a sudden, kindness and self-acceptance is like a radical concept. Whoever you choose to be, whatever woman you decide to show up as, whatever person you decide to show up as, I'm so excited for you in this journey. I am so happy for however you were able to make it to where you are sitting right now. And I'm so happy that you've decided that certain parts of yourself aren't serving you anymore. I love both versions of you, and I really hope that you have that same grace for yourself as well. Thank you guys so much for making it through this video today. I am so happy, I think, with how this video turned out. I really hope that it touches the people that it needs to touch, and that whoever is watching this finds value in this. Thank you guys again so much for watching. I hope that you've been enjoying my week of Simone so far. That is all I have for you guys today. Remember to be kind to yourself. I hope that if there's one thing that you took away from this video, well, two things you took away from this video: be kind to yourself and change your mind because you want to and because you feel like it. With all that being said, remember to keep positivity in your life, because positivity breeds positivity, and we have absolutely no time for negativity in 2022. I will see you guys super duper soon in my next video. Mwah! Bye guys.